This is Bruce, the blog for PennySaver Community TV, and as part of our ongoing series of interviews with the candidates for Yorktown office in 2011, we're now speaking with incumbent Supervisor Susan Siegel, who of course is the Republican nominee for re-election to her office of supervisor. So thank you, Susan, for taking the time. I know that you're just finishing up here at Empire Hunan in Yorktown a fundraiser, right? And how did that go tonight for you?
Oh, it was very good. We had a nice crowd, and it's always good. I saw so many people who were here 2 years ago to support me when I first ran for office, and lots of new people. So I was very happy, and this sort of officially marks the beginning of a campaign.
And so, right, and we know we're sitting here on June 6th, and the election, of course, is November 8th. So you have about, 5 months ahead of you. So how does somebody who is an incumbent like yourself balance the duties of office with campaigning? I mean, I guess that does produce some wear and tear.
I don't know if you were here earlier tonight, but that's one of the things I said to my supporters. I have a full-time job that can occupy my time 24/7, and my job comes first. That's what the people elected me to do, and it's only when I can get a good day's work done as supervisor that I will go out and knock on doors and meet people late at night if there are no town board meetings. My commitment is to get the job done first, and campaigning comes second. Saturdays, Sundays, whenever.
Whenever you can fit it in.
Whenever I can fit it in. And that's why so many of my supporters here tonight will be working and helping me to get the message out.
And on top of the general election, so to speak, in November, there is a primary challenge to the board candidates of your party by Tom DiChiara of the winery. Now, if there is to be a primary challenge to you from somebody, that would then imply that you would be campaigning sort of now for the primary in September 13th, I believe it is, right? So that would add to the campaign, right?
Well, I haven't heard of anyone who's going to challenge me.
Right. As of us sitting here, nobody has announced.
No, and I think.
But if somebody were to, is what I'm saying.
If they were to, excuse me, then yes, then I would have to do a primary and reach out strictly to the Republicans. Whereas once I start really campaigning and start in June, in July basically I'll be starting. Then I will reach out to Republicans, conservatives, registered independents, the truly independent, lowercase I, the voters who are not affiliated with any party, and also to the Democrats, because I'm basically a nonpartisan candidate, and there's no Republican or Democratic way to run a town, to fix roads, to collect garbage, to collect taxes, to legislate the things that we do every day, set up a fire safety program, a tree ordinance, do code enforcement. It's not Republican or Democrat, it's just the right person in the office doing the job.
Right.
So my appeal, and I think my appeal 2 years ago was strictly nonpartisan and would be the same. You have to run on a party line. That's the way the elections are run in this country.
Right. I mean, would you consider yourself apolitical? I know some people do feel you're apolitical in a certain sense, and the context for that is that by your words and deeds, you're not overly concerned about necessarily saying the right thing to a person, or, which can be a double-edged sword. Right?
I see my job as supervisor, my responsibility is to all of the residents in Yorktown. And as I said here earlier tonight, yes, I have voted no for some very narrow special interest groups because I thought they would only benefit a small group to the detriment of the vast majority of Yorktown taxpayers. And I see that as my strength. okay, that I represent the entire community. I can't please everyone, and I certainly know that. For every half dozen taxpayers who want me to cut taxes, there are a half dozen more who want me to spend money on something special to them. And
Right.
that's the hardest job, deciding how to set priorities and what's in the best interest of the community as a whole. And that's what I have tried to do.
And can you give us an example, Supervisor Siegel, of what you just mentioned, something you voted no on because you felt it really would not benefit enough people?
Last year, I put a lot of effort into auctioning off unneeded town-owned property. These were mostly just leftover pieces of land, small pieces, and there just happened to be 2 houses that we had taken ownership of. 1 or 2 parcels actually were building lot sizes, but most of them were not. They were little postage stamp sizes. And I felt there was no reason, the town had no reason to own them, and so we auctioned them off. And then we had bids on 2 small parcels, neither of which could be built on in Croton Heights. And initially the board voted to put them up for auction. And when it came time to actually approve the bid, some of the people in that neighborhood were opposed to it. And so the board changed its mind, and they voted not only to keep the property, to reject the bid, which lost revenue for the town, but to make them parkland, and they were taken off the tax rolls totally. I voted against that.
Right.
I thought there was no rationale for keeping it that way. The properties could have remained open space. They could have gotten back on the tax rolls, so they would pay taxes going